You're listening to the Bring the Thunder podcast, a podcast by fans for fans.
Yes, you are indeed, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Bring the Thunder podcast. I'm here with Sapphire at Thunder Talk YT on all socials. Go check them out. We're back. We are back. We had some technical difficulties last night, so we're going to do this live this morning. And recap last night's game where OKC fell to the Indiana Pacers 117-114 at home. I'll do a quick stat sheet. I know I kind of did it last night, but just because we had SGA was 47-4-4, back-to-back 40-plus point games. Chet played well with 25, 13, 3 and 3 blocks. Kaysen added 10, Kemridge added 12, and then everybody else kind of played bad. For the Pacers, they played really well. 21-6-6 from Siakam, 27-7-11 from Nembhard. 7 rebounds from Nembhard is just unacceptable. Walker had 26. Naismith had 17, 5-5 after shooting a cool 30% all season long. He played really well. And Potter off the bench came in for 10-10, which really got me angry because he didn't do nothing for Wisconsin. I watched him all his college career, and he wasn't that good. With that being said, Xavier, I mean, last night was a rough one. For me personally, I'm not too mad at it just because I know, listen, the sixth man of the year is out with A.J. Mitchell. Aaron Wiggins, who's been starting for the team, was out. Isaiah Hartenstein was out. Alex Caruso was out. And there's even more that I'm probably even forgetting. But with that being said, like, how do you think they played last night? I thought it was a good game. Not too mad at the loss. You know, it sucks to drop one at home, but I think it was pretty inevitable at some point here. And you know the Pacers wanted to come back and play well for Tyrese.
Yeah, a lot of the guys they had out there were, a lot of the guys they had out there for the finals. So it's kind of confusing why they're 11-35. Obviously, they're missing their lead point guard, but I definitely didn't think they'd be in this position. And they didn't play like they're a 10-35 team. Honestly, they gave us probably one of the cleanest losses of the season, in my opinion. Like a really a loss where I don't really have many complaints. I know we're injured down a lot of players, but this is a winnable game, especially with SGA dropping 47. We have Chet dropping 25. And I just felt like where we came up short was, some of that bench unit. Obviously, we only had Kendrick with 12, Kaysen with the 10 points, and we needed more guys in double figures. And typically for a Thunder team and Thunder offense, we usually see more guys in double figures. And so I was kind of surprised that wasn't the case. Obviously, we were missing a lot of the elite offensive guys and, much of the starting lineup and a lot of the depth as well. So it's kind of understandable why we had the loss, but it's not something that I don't know. I feel both ends of it, where on the Thunder side, I'm like, okay, we should have definitely won this game, especially against a team like this. But I feel like their record doesn't indicate where they're at. I think this is just a season where they're just trying to get the best draft picks. And I'm sure, top-down management, they've discussed this with the coach. And obviously the players are just still going to play at the same high level. So they've dropped probably a lot of close games throughout the season as well that probably they would have won with one additional all-star that they're missing. So It's just kind of how their season is going. And on our end, the injury plague kind of comes back to bite us. And we keep saying there's nothing else that can stop the Thunder except for this injury plague. And now I'm kind of getting a little bit more worried because this is kind of what I mentioned to you, Joe, is I don't necessarily mind the one or two injuries here or there, but when it starts becoming long-term throughout the roster, it really impacts one guy, and that's SGA. He's having to put more on his body, more on a night-to-night. And we just saw Giannis go down with a calf injury because he's trying just so hard to win games. And you can't tell MVP-level talented guys at some point where they've won a championship to now go back to not being a winning level player or not being out there, even if they feel like, oh, my calf is strained or my hamstring strained. I've been in that position. You've probably been there, Joe, as well. When we played just sports in general, we're like, okay, who cares about our body in the moment? We're trying to get this win right now. And it's usually about the win right now. And I think that can have a pretty long-term factor on us. And hopefully, SGA stays healthy throughout this run. Chet stays healthy as well. That's another guy I'm worried about when it comes to more injuries, because they've been really the all-NBA, all-star talents this season that's kept us afloat and kept us at this record. And that's why they're both all-star level talents. And we're just in a tough stretch. We got to kind of just bide our time. But also, I don't think I'm going to complain too much if we have a couple losses in the next 2 to 3 weeks with kind of how the health situation is going. I'd rather us post All-Star break, come back all healthy, and be ready to rock and roll. And that's been my message to fans, whether we're winning or losing, is just get healthy, get ready for the playoffs, make that push, and be ready for that run. And I'll address the comment by Bengals here. A lot of the guys were out. Joe's internet or whatever, the browser crashed, so we just decided we'd hit the stream today and get this out for you guys still, and we'll post it on the channel for everyone to watch.
Absolutely. But welcome back in, Bengals. Appreciate you joining back in here. But Sapir, that's exactly where we left off yesterday. Was okay. It gets to a point where every team gets injured, but OKC seemed to be injured for the last 2 seasons now. The only time they were healthy was during the postseason stretch last year, and even AJ Mitchell wasn't playing in that postseason last year. And then we ended up talking about, or I started to talk about, okay, the injuries have been annoying, but yeah, you hit it on the head. You got to focus on what's in front of you, and it's SGA and Chet fighting every game for this team right now, burning through their bodies, just killing themselves trying to get these wins. It gets to a point where SGA is going to need some rest too now. He's carrying a boatload he's carrying the whole team right now, back-to-back 40-point games. Mind you, the one in Milwaukee was pretty effortless, but last night, 47 points on 28 shots. He needs to slow down because we saw him in the playoffs last year. We saw him get a little tired towards the end. We got to get healthy, and that's really it. And I think a few of these guys are close to returning. I think Aaron Wiggins will be back in the next game we play. Hartenstein, I think, is still like a week out, maybe a week and a half, but he's close. Caruso, I don't even think Caruso is really injured. I think they just like to sit him whenever they can. I know he did have a little tweak in the Cavs game, but it's just they got to get healthy. They got to get healthy, and they got to take the load off of SGA because it's going to catch up to him eventually, and that's the worst case scenario. We can't have that happen. SGA could, everybody could get injured on the team, and SGA and Chet will carry this team to victories or really good games against solid teams. And mind you, Indiana is a good team. They're, like you said, they're just playing for the draft pick. You could see they played up yesterday, especially, they wanted the finals rematch. They wanted to get the win for Tyrese, who didn't travel with the team because he said he wasn't ready to yet. I'm sure he was in their ears telling him ready to get going.
We won that season opener against them where we beat them in double overtime, 141, 135. Actually had the 55 career high. So I'm sure they remembered that loss and wanting to get revenge for that as well. But I don't think they need any additional motivation after losing the finals. And those guys were playing like they had a point to prove. That 27 points by Nembhard and his 3-point shooting was just so crucial. He built their first lead up, and then even in the third quarter and into the fourth, he's the one that kind of, gave a lot of the 3-pointers that felt like daggers to us throughout this game. So, just big ups to them, and hopefully on their own end, they've been pretty unhealthy for most of the season as well. I do want to mention that as part of their record. They're not trying to win games and whatnot, but they've also just had tremendous amount of injuries.
Yeah, they've had a lot of injuries as well. You hit that too. I believe that, if Halliburton comes back, they could be a really good team again. I think they are a very good team right now. Obviously, Halliburton's super vital to what they do. He runs the show for them, but they match up really well with OKC with their pace. Nobody on OKC, even after the 7-game series, seemed to figure out Andrew Nembhard yet. He normally plays up against OKC. And I kind of root for them, especially after the battle that we went through last year in the finals with them. I think they're on the cusp of getting back when Halliburton gets back. I do want to swing back to OKC though. The only problem I did have with last night's game, and I think a few people in the chat did too, is even with all these injuries, your main guys, your core guys still have to step up. SGA 47, Chet Holmgren 25, 13, and 3 blocks. Outstanding games. I just need more from Lou Dort in last night's game. He's been playing so well offensively. shooting like just under 40% over the last like 10 plus games. He's getting to the mid range and knocking them down, getting to the basket. Last night he goes 1 for 9 with 2 points. The home drop off for this team offensively is a real thing. They shoot 5% less percent wise from deep at home. They shoot worse field goal percentage wise at home. I feel like that's just a coincidence right now. What are your takes on that?
Yeah, whenever I look at home and road splits, usually most players play better at home than on the road. That's been kind of the narrative around it. But also, playing away from home can be less distractions. You're a little bit more locked in. You'll have a lot less going on for your regular day-to-day routine. I know you can think about it that way, I guess, Joe. But when you're on the road, I feel like you do have that opportunity to shoot a little bit better, and that may be the case for just his specific play. But just in general, we haven't done the best at home. But I mean, I can't really say that. I guess my take would be we've won a lot of games at home. We've rarely dropped games at home. I think this is the second Eastern Conference team we've lost to this season in the calendar year, at least. And so I'm not too stressed about this loss in that way. But as far as Lou Dort, yeah, I think I did expect a lot more from Lou Dort. Last game, what I'll say about this Pacers team, I think they've definitely figured out most of our play styles. We played a long series against them, and a lot of the guys knew exactly the shots Lou Dort was going after, what shots to give him, what shots not to give him, and they were kind of giving him the mid-ranges, really tough step-back threes, and I don't think he was getting anything easy from the offensive end because they kind of just know his play style at this point. And I think that was really tough on Lou in that sense. And I think it was just a matchup thing in this game. They're just really familiar with a lot of the starting guys, and that's just kind of how it goes. I mean, I knew Chet was going to score a lot of points because they don't really have interior presence there. SGA, same thing, that he gets downhill. But everyone else, from a shooting struggle standpoint, and honestly, I expected a lot more for Isaiah Joe as well. One thing
in a row.
Huh?
I was just adding 2 games in a row. Isaiah Joe's kind of underwhelmed.
Yeah, one thing I want to get to is I was looking at the starting lineup. We kind of went guard heavy, smaller lineup. I wish and I preferred we continue to do a little bit larger in terms of size wise. And I would have preferred like Jay Will in the starting lineup, in my personal opinion. For a game like this, I think he would have been crucial with more minutes. I know he's just coming back, but at least starting him out could have made a bit of a difference playing alongside SGA and Chet for a little bit more offense. I think the other issue for this game was we were relying on like Oos and Kaysen to carry us from like a secondary ball handling perspective. We didn't have anyone outside of SGA. And I know he played a lot of minutes last night, like 35, but I just don't think we had another ball handler out there. And against a Pacers team that pressures on defense the way they do, I think it was just going to be a uphill battle. And when you're putting the ball handling responsibilities on Lou Dort, that usually doesn't end the best because that doesn't really fit his play style.
Yeah, we got a comment here from Bengals. He said, how do we feel about the Raptors tomorrow? I guess we'll jump to this year. Not great at all. The Raptors have been very good to start this season. They start off really hot, kind of slowed down, but they're back third in the Eastern Conference, 3-game win streak. A lot of talented players in Toronto right now. I mean, right now, depending on the lineup, I'm not confident in any game right now. I mean, we just lost to the Pacers, who are 11-35. Yes, they played outstanding, and we know that they're better than that. But with Kenrich, Oos, and Jay Will as your top 3 off the bench, with Kaysen and Isaiah Joe starting, I don't necessarily feel very confident against anybody at the moment. We just got to have our team back. If OKC gets a few guys back for tomorrow, I'm sure they'll win the game. But it has to be like Wiggins and Caruso back in the lineup tomorrow. But I'm not even sure if they will be. That's the problem for me, Xavier.
Yeah, I'm going to say we're going to have a really tough night in the tough matchup. I think SGA may be up to scoring 50 points in the game. Chet may have to score 30-plus for us to even really be competitive, similar to how tonight went, and they played amazing offense. I'm looking at their lineup. Man, they got some dogs over there, man. They got Brandon Ingram, Scotty Barnes, Sandro, Mama Skulevsky, something like
That
that.
was pretty good. I'm pretty sure that's close.
Nah, it's not close. I know that it's not fair to say it. I'm sorry. But yeah, Sandro's amazing. He's just a baller. I think they saw like glimpses of him in the G League, and then he went on to being a really good NBA player. And now he's in a starting lineup as a center. I mean, I don't think they even expected that. They have a lot of just tall talent. That's usually how the Raptors build their teams, a lot of forwards. And that's exactly what we struggle against. So I'm definitely not feeling good from a matchup perspective. What I will say is I think I'm excited to see always the Raptors versus SGA because they take it a little bit personal and it feels like another made rivalry there. What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, SGA always has reasons to play up against everybody, it feels like. But yeah, he loves playing against Toronto. For me, I think I think if we were healthy-ish, and I'm talking like mostly everyone, this isn't a worry at all. I mean, it's just we know that. We know that. It's just so frustrating knowing that our odds of winning that game tomorrow, if the roster remains the same as last night, are very slim. Toronto's got a good team all around. If we're playing the worst rotations ever, you probably don't have a chance. I'm hoping that a few guys come back. But yeah, Toronto's playing solid. They have an exciting team. They're not anything to worry about. Um, if I were who's even the top seed, like the Pistons or the Knicks, but even though the Knicks have been kind of sucking, but they're a solid team, especially in the regular season.
Well, this is a Raptors team that's 28-19. They're actually better than the Knicks right now. They're third in the standings, and this is no team that's a slouch. They had a little bit of an injury bug and dropped down. I think they're better than the Celtics in my opinion. I think they're right up there with a Pistons squad in my personal opinion. They have a really good unified squad. It reminds me of the old Raptors teams where they don't have one guy that really stands out, but the whole team as a whole is really well coached. The organization is really solid, and they just have a ton of talent top down from the roster. This is going to be a pretty rough matchup, but I did have a question for you, I guess, going into this. But before I do that, we should hit my segment real quick, and let me go ahead and see if we can get that up.
Welcome to Satvir's Quarter.
All right, guys. So for today, we're going to do SGA scoring 30 plus points for the 32nd time. And this is his fourth straight 30 plus point game. I feel like this was a stat worth mentioning. I try to get one stat of the night in, and SGA is still continuing on his run of games. Also, he's tied for fifth 40-point games, which he's tied with Jaylen Brown, who has the third most behind Ant and Luka. SGA is on back-to-back 40-point games. I think this is just fantastic for us. And also, with the ninth loss of the season, the Thunder would have to go undefeated to match the Golden State Warriors' 73-win season in the 2015-16 year. I guess we started out 26-3, and what do you think about that? Like a month ago, if we were to say, where we're at right now with the consecutive losses and the injuries, it feels like it's more of a forgotten moment that I think us on the podcast weren't too, shaken up on whether we go for the record or get it or not, because we were like, okay, if we get it, great. If not, but I think fans or casual fans were way more excited about that. And the fact that we've kind of dropped down to where I don't think obviously we're going to get that record. We're probably going to end up with 68 to 65 wins, similar to last season. That's still a great season to have, especially with missing, Jalen Williams for a lot of it. So what do you think about that, Joe?
Yeah, after last night, we are unable to beat the record. We could still tie it if we win every single game out. But for me, I mean, listen, it would have been really cool to break that record. And I do still think if the Thunder team was fully healthy, and I'm talking like from the jump that they could have with J-Dub and everybody ready to roll. But maybe it's better off not to. We saw what happened to the Warriors when they broke the regular season record. They ended up blowing a 3-1 NBA Finals lead. I mean, I couldn't imagine blowing a 3-1 lead in the finals. We blew a 3-1 lead in the Western Conference Finals, and that took a long time to recover from. But I do believe that they still will come close to last season's win total, which was 68 wins. 68 wins is a lot of wins. Like, you're not going to see that very often. I do think the NBA has gotten a little bit better this season. I think the Western Conference has gotten a bit better this season. So, a little drop off would be fine as long as they finish in the 64 win range. Especially what they're going through now, they'll be fine. I'm really more focused on playoffs at this point, right? We know what this team is. We know when they're healthy, they'll be ready to go. It's just about getting healthy, like you always said, get to that All-Star break, get the team back, and then take off after then and get ready for a nice playoff run again. We know that they're on the cusp of something special, and they could definitely go back-to-back. It's just about getting healthy and then executing down the stretch in the playoffs, but yeah, I absolutely believe that they could do it. I'm not too worried about the regular season wins record. That's more for entertainment purposes and all that good stuff. But there's just no shot, especially with the way this injury plague has been going throughout the season. All right, here to finish up, I did want to talk about one last thing here, and that would be the return of Isaiah Hartenstein. Whether it's a week and a half, maybe whenever it's going to be, maybe even past All-Star. Isaiah Hartenstein is so vital to this team, right? And Chet and Isaiah play very well together. I do believe they play better without each other in the same lineup. Is it possible that when Hartenstein gets back that we do not start two bigs and we roll Hartenstein off the bench and keep Wiggins in the starting lineup? Because with Wiggins in the starting lineup, they've been super effective. They were 4-0 before they took him out and played him off the bench, and they lost that game, put him back in, and they won. So, I mean, what are your thoughts on just getting that spacing down for SGA, keeping a shooter on the floor with Aaron Wiggins and starting Isaiah Hartenstein off the bench? He'll still get the same minutes. I'm sure I don't have to explain that to you. You know that.
Yeah, so he's still getting his 25 minutes. I want to address Bengals comments. When is he actually coming back? We haven't gotten a day-to-day report similar to like an Aaron Wiggins where we know he's going to be coming back here soon. Until a report by the Thunder is officially released on, where a player is at, you pretty much can guess that player is not going to be playing. I think that's a safer bet compared to most other organizations where they're usually like, oh, this guy's coming back, and they never end up doing that. Whereas the Thunder are very straightforward about their reporting. It's like, okay, if the guy's on the day-to-day report, he's pretty much back within the next, week there, or, that's kind of the expectation. So it feels like it's definitely been ages. I was just about
28th.
Yeah, it's been ages, and the report was he's going to come back soon, but I think they pushed it back where we've been staying afloat pretty well in terms of the wins and losses. And, the type of injury he had, we can't really play any risks. And I think the more time you give for rest for, soft tissue injuries, whatever else, I think it's just better overall. And especially with the way he plays a lot of running up and down the court. And I prefer that. But as far as starting lineup wise goes, I love that you bring this up to kind of close out our segment here. Aaron Wiggins, we've been, mentioning this. We're about to hit our 1 year anniversary of starting this podcast coming up here soon. But we've been saying since we started the podcast, Aaron Wiggins should be starting. Aaron Wiggins should be getting more minutes. I mean, he's a starting level talent. He's pretty much our sixth man last year, where we knew we were going to get the consistent offense from him, and we knew he could take that leap. And he just brings so much consistency. You know what his baseline floor is. You know how well he's going to defend. He's pretty much Kenrich off the bench, but he's in the starting lineup, and he's a lot
40%
younger.
from deep.
Yeah, exactly, and he's a lot younger. But when I say that from like an energy and consistency standpoint, you need some guy that can kind of bring that to you. And previously, I will say this, it used to be Lou Dort. He'd bring the top 10 level defense, and he still has a top 10 level defense, but he's not bringing that offense that he had at the 40% clip. And Aaron Wiggins kind of replaces that lack of offensive, creation on the floor. We need that spacing for SGA with how much he goes downhill. We rely on points in the paint really heavily. And if we're not getting that, we won't beat teams because we don't really shoot the ball that well. We're pretty league average when it comes to 3-point shooting, and we're pretty streaky, as we all know. So he's pretty much as crucial as it gets. And I think he's the better guy to start over like an Isaiah Joe. He's the other option. That's another 40% shooter essentially. But he plays a lot better defense. And so I think he's earned the spot start there. And I think AJ has to stay off the bench because we don't have any other creator off the bench. And you can't have no playmaking as we saw tonight off the bench. So
yeah, and take into account when J-Dub gets back, you can't have 3 ball handlers on the same lineup there with AJ, J-Dub, and Shea. It's just not going to work. We might as well keep AJ off the bench for now, but keep Wiggins in the starting lineup. Shoots 40% from deep, gets to the rim really efficiently, can create for himself, rebounds well, and he had 5 steals the last time we saw him play. He's an outstanding defender, a little underrated in my opinion. I think he's just so perfect for this team and what Presti, but just think about it. Like, you roll out when you're fully healthy. You roll out SGA, J-Dub, Aaron Wiggins, Lou Dort, and Chet to start the game. Second line, you get AJ Mitchell, Isaiah Hartenstein, and then one of SGA or J-Dub. It's disgusting. You'll never lose minutes when SGA is off the court, when he's on the court. It makes too much sense to me to do that. And we stress it, me and you. I think we've been stressing it for about 9 months now, maybe 10, maybe more. Hartenstein's not losing minutes coming off the bench. He'll still play the exact same. If you want to close the game with him, go for it. He's going to play the same exact minutes he plays every game just off the bench. I mean, I think it makes way too much sense for us. Spreads the floor out. You get spacing for SGA. You get spacing for even AJ when you get guys off the bench. Offense would be rolling, and the defense would be too.
Yeah, completely agree. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. We do have exclusive content dropping today if you guys want to get into the membership squad pretty much. And we'll see you guys next time. I think, Joe, you can, get us out of here, man.
Yeah, I got you. Real quick, Austin, welcome in. Speaking of members, Austin has been a member for a couple months now. Austin, but you lost your green tag, Austin. We got to do something about that. Got to get back on that membership. Anyway, yeah, I'm just messing around. If you like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn post notifications on, go join the premium memberships on the YouTube channel, and we will see you guys tomorrow for the preview of the Raptors, and then we'll be live after the game. And Thunder up, baby. Let's go.